I'm proud to represent Washington State's 7th Congressional District in the U.S. House of Representatives, and I'm here today with leaders from a number of different organizations that have been very important on the ground. Those include the Northwest Immigrant Rights Project, includes CARE Washington, it includes the Japanese-American Citizens League and our longtime leader, Diane Narasaki, as well as the National Iranian-American Coalition has been very helpful and working actively on this issue, and a number of other organizations that have been part of a coalition for some decades now to ensure that we protect the constitutional and civil rights of all Americans and all people in the United States. We're also going to be hearing from shortly one of the individuals who was detained. Nega is with us today and will speak as well. But I wanted to start by saying that the Trump administration's escalation, reckless military escalation with the assassination of Qasem Soleimani has brought us to this place, but even before that has brought us to this place with the withdrawal of the United States from the JCPOA, with the failed strategy of maximum pressure, I put that in quotes, and now with an unauthorized assassination with no approval from Congress to go to war that has brought us to a very, very dangerous place that puts our U.S. troops in danger and also puts the entire region and decades of diplomacy at risk. More than ever before, it is urgent that Congress immediately take action, and the Congressional Progressive Caucus, which I co-chair, has taken a formal endorsement for floor action on a couple of bills, and we are working with leadership to make sure that this week Congress can reassert its constitutional obligation to approve any sort of use of military force, to withdraw any military force that's being used in the region right now, and to prevent the United States from going to a war. Our office got word of what was happening from CARE, NIAC, and from some other groups on the ground early yesterday morning, and we've been working since then to get to the bottom of what is happening. And what has been clear to me now in speaking with, our office has spoken with a number of people who were detained, and in speaking with the groups that are here, is that there were certainly people of Iranian-American descent, almost all, as we know, U.S. citizens and permanent residents, who were subjected to, I wouldn't call it just additional scrutiny, because they had their passports taken away, they were not allowed to leave, so they were held in some form of detention at the Peace Arch in border crossing in Blaine, Washington, and it appears that that was as a result of some sort of directive that we are trying to get to the bottom of what that was. So I understand that CBP has said that no such thing occurred, but it is difficult to believe that when you listen to the multiple accounts of what happened, and you will get to hear that directly. It is also difficult to believe that this was just a question of short staffing at the border, and that is what led to these delays, because in fact there were clearly many people being processed through, and the only people that seemed to be pulled aside and held back and detained in some form and fashion were people of Iranian-American heritage. You will hear a little bit more, but the work that we have been doing in our office has been to try to get to the bottom of exactly what was told, what was directed by CBP to our border officials in Washington State. The notion that this was all because of a pop concert that Iranian-Americans went across the border to attend, and therefore that's what caused the delay, doesn't make sense. And you'll hear from Jorge Barón, the executive director of Northwest Immigrant Rights Project, about what he saw and experienced, but certainly this started before people started coming back from the pop concert. My deep concern about this, having been an activist right after 9/11 and having worked on the secret detentions, deportations, additional scrutiny that were brought to communities right after 9/11, going to the Muslim ban when so many of us went to the airports immediately, and now this is that we continue to have a very skewed notion of what it means to be a U.S. citizen, what it means to be a permanent resident, and what it means to have constitutional protections, regardless of your citizenship status. And this appears to be another attempt to target and isolate a community that very much is part of our fabric, our social fabric. And so the fear that these policies have brought and the discrimination that we appear to be once again veering towards